Hey, what's up, fam? So I just popped on here to present this slide that I made about Ibogaine. If anyone follows my other page, Universal Medicine, you guys probably know Ibogaine is super, super dear to me and to my soul and my life. It's truly transformed a lot of things for me and helped me see a lot of things differently. So I made this slide for a friend of mine to be able to present, just to give people general education around this plant and its history and its abilities. We're going to be talking about it in the realm of addiction and its ability to interrupt addictions, and not just to drugs, but addiction doesn't have to mean drug. It can mean habits, routines, way of life, way of living, anything. But it does have a profound ability to literally interrupt addiction and halt it. So let's jump into this. It's called Nature's Profound Treatment for Addiction and Alcoholism. Let's talk about the tradition of Iboga. Where does it come from? So Tabernath Iboga, the plant, the shrub, was discovered by the Pygmy tribes in Central Africa a long, long, long time ago, passed on to the Bwiti tribes of Gabon, Africa. Now these tribes are using this plant for rites of passage, in ceremony and communication with the spirit world. It's an extremely sacred plant to them. Their whole life is revolved around it, much like ayahuasca in the Amazon. It wasn't until 1962 that we discovered its ability to stop addiction. And this was the guy who found it. His name was Howard Lotsof. At the time, he was a heroin addict back in 1962. And he was just looking to get high. He was looking to trip, and he obtained this Ibogaine, which someone told him was, crazy strong. And he took it ignorantly, probably in hindsight, I'm sure he'd agree. And, it ultimately changed the world of addiction. The story goes that he ingested this Ibogaine and went on a 72-hour grueling experience. And after, when he woke up from it, had no heroin withdrawal, no opioid withdrawal, no obsession, no craving. Oh, none of that. Gone. And he dedicated the rest of his life to the research, legal advocacy, and the education of this new drug. This is what it looks like on the top left. That's the Iboga tabernath shrub, one of 3 plants that produce the alkaloid ibogaine, which is the main psychoactive alkaloid within the plant, in the root bark. Up here on the right, you have it in its salt form, which is typically what we will use for treatment due to its purity and strength and consistency. And down here on the right, you've got Iboga root bark, which I think it's funny because it's right next to a cigarette. And Iboga does the same thing to nicotine receptors that it does to opioid receptors. Totally fucking cleans them. So what exactly does it do? Okay, it's a great question. Well, since we're talking about it in the scope of addiction, let's use opioids as the example here. And so if someone comes for a treatment with Ibogaine for opioid addiction, one flood dose. Now, a flood dose is the term given to a specific formula of, milligram to kilogram body weight given in one setting, one time, and it sends you on a full experience. Some call it a shamanic journey. In here I say induces a profound mystical and visual experience lasting 10 to 15 hours, in which the spirit of Father Iboga is said to reveal one's past, present, and future options in life. It's almost like you're watching a movie of your life right in front of your eyes. It's absolutely incredible. And I can definitely tell you that Papa Iboga is in there and he's guiding you during this experience. Now, what it's doing neurologically is very impressive. So it's targeting very specific receptor sites in the brain. Now, we're talking about opioids, so we'll stick to that. You take a person who's addicted to opioids, give them a full Ibogaine treatment, and when they come out of it, their withdrawal is gone. It's not coming back. The craving, the scratching, the anger, the rage, I need it, it's gone. It's just all gone. And during the treatment, it's creating its metabolite called noribogaine, which is what floods these different receptor sites and allows them to rebuild to a pre-addicted state. Now, getting into the treatment, there's a lot of things we like to consider. At least the way that I was taught with me and my team, how we treat. We're looking at biological factors, psychological factors, and social considerations before we even decide to treat a patient. Now, this is everything from making sure that they are in good enough health to receive this plant, good enough mental health to receive this plant, and do they have the social environment needed when they get home in order to integrate this experience into their life? And if they don't, we need to help set that up because our society doesn't have a lot of room for integration with extreme treatments like this with plants. You do something like this and you go home and you go, oh my God, this plant just changed my life and it taught me this and Papa Iboga, and people are looking at you like, what? And it's just not really accepted in the recovery world. It's not understood, right? And people seem to fear what they don't understand. So we need to make room for this, and not just for this, but for all types of treatments like this. And that is one of the big social aspects that we look at. Preparing the body to receive the medicine, huge. And the two main points that we bring up for this is that in order for the body and brain to get the highest benefit from Ibogaine, we believe the vessel that consumes the plant must be cleaned to the best of our ability. So we typically will prepare somebody for about 10 days to 12 days before we even give them the plant. And I'll kind of go over what that looks like to prepare the body. The second point is that the preparation process is very symbolic for a personal sacrifice for the medicine. And for someone who's actively addicted to drugs or alcohol to surrender to a process like this will allow them to further develop a stronger connection to the medicine, especially during the treatment and after the treatment. When you've done something so profound to obtain such an experience, it magnifies the experience. It means more to us when we work for something. What does a full treatment look like? Well, it can last, our treatment stays could be from 7 to 28 days. It really is case by case, dependent on what the person is taking, what their addiction, how strong their addiction is, how much they're consuming, what they're consuming, how often they're consuming. So it really just depends. And the detox aspect of this, each patient's assessed when they come in. Now, if it is an opioid addict, we will taper them with morphine to a manageable amount of opioids on the receptors that Ibogaine can handle. You don't want to give Ibogaine too much to handle because few things can happen. One, when they come out, they might still be in withdrawal. Even if it's less, Ibogaine, it's not, a magic eraser. It has its threshold. So we want to get those opioid levels into into a zone that Ibogaine can handle with confidence. Let's see here. It is a blind taper too, so the patients don't know how much morphine they're getting, when it's being dropped, and that's when we really see the placebo effect coming into play. It's pretty interesting. The diet is huge for the prep, all organic, non-GMO, no refined sugars, no spices, everything pretty bland. 3 days before the plant medicine, you're going full vegan, much like ayahuasca, in the sense of, the diet and the preparation, in order to enhance the experience. Let's see, a full treatment. We do a lot of coffee, organic green coffee enemas, because when that goes through the colon, it creates glutathione, which is a very powerful detox agent. We really want the liver enzymes in check. We're checking patients' blood throughout the treatment to track these things, because if someone's liver is not functioning up to par, they're gonna have a hard time processing the Ibogaine. And that can lead to other issues, right? You could be tripping for 24 hours. You could go into an Iboga coma, where you have to be, you have your ass wiped and be spoon-fed for 3 days. You can have heart complications, nausea throughout the experience. It can be not great. NAD cellular rehabilitation. We do IV infusions with NAD, with Myers cocktail, to replenish nutrients and vital vitamins that us humans need to be in good health. Down here, Changa and DMT ceremony. Now, this is something that we use. It's a multifaceted tool, right? And I'll just read what I wrote because I feel like I said it pretty well here. It allows the participant to experience plant medicine, perhaps for the first time, in a safe space for a short period of time. The Changa experience is maybe 15 to 20 minutes. In some cases, this may be the first time they've seen psychedelics associated with ritual, tradition, and respect. Very important. This sets a tone. This process also allows the facilitator to see the patient's response to psychedelic experience, which can be helpful in leading them up to Ibogaine, right? And there's so many more dynamics surrounding that as well. I look at the Changa ceremony as like plant medicine 101. Let's do this safely. I'm here, you're here, we're here together, and we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna dissect it. The actual treatment. So I won't get into all how it's prepared and weighed out and everything. So basically, it's typically weighed out into 5 separate doses according to a client's weight, severity of addiction, different things that go into it. You're hooked up to an ECG machine, so you would have your heart monitor right next to you. We have you on a catheter so that we have an IV drip on you in case we need to administer emergency medication, anti-nausea medication, whatever it needs to be. We don't want to give you pills during or before your treatment because we want your liver as clean as possible. So that's why we do intravenous medications. Now, the actual treatment should last anywhere from 10 to 12 hours, in which a doctor and a nurse will be at your side the whole time, watching every second. Now, the patient just looks like they're taking a nap. There's really no moving. Let's see. A person under the influence of Ibogaine will incur severe ataxia and lose most motor function. You can't walk, you can't move really without assistance. Your whole body is almost paralyzed in a way. And it's very harsh, right? So you need someone to actually carry you to the bathroom. You could fall and crack your skull easily trying to get out of bed on a flood dose of Ibogaine. Once all the doses have been consumed, all withdrawal symptoms should be gone. If they're not, that's something that will be addressed after the treatment, maybe with booster doses, which are basically microdoses of Ibogaine given after the treatment in order to clean the rest of the receptors, anything that the main treatment missed. Honestly, when we were doing this a lot, we very rarely had to use booster doses because the preparation process was so tedious, right? And we did it very, very strictly. The gray day, it's the day after Ibogaine. Or right when you come out of that experience, you're probably not going to sleep for 24 hours. You're going to have a hard time eating. You might be emotional. You're exhausted. Ibogaine's a powerful stimulant, so you're just like, it's quite a day. You might be crying. You might not be able to focus or concentrate. And we can give clients certain things to help them feel better faster. But again, everyone is different, and everyone's processing differently. My first Ibogaine experience, I was tripping for 24 hours. I shit my pants twice. I was not prepped. My body was not prepped in the way that I've just described. And so I've done it both ways. And I can tell you, and I'd say 99% of clinics do not prep the body. It's a 7-day treatment. They give you Ibogaine on day 3. Good luck. So I'm very grateful for having to learn this way of treatment. I think it's such a beautiful way to honor the medicine and have a successful, efficient treatment. Let's see, Ibogaine success rates. It's very hard to find success rates for this. Also, how are we defining success? Are we defining it with long-term, lifelong abstinence? Because that's not success for some people. Other people, maybe it is. It all depends on what the person's goal is. Mine was, I just want quality of life, right? And I'll do whatever I have to do and give up whatever I have to give up in order to obtain that. And Ibogaine helped me do that. It put my feet on the ground. It took me back through the maze, put me at the starting point and said, choose. You can go back in the maze, or you can go this way. It's a lot better. So that's like my analogy. My favorite study of Ibogaine is the Noller, Frampton, Yazar, Klaczynski, New Zealand study in 2016. It was an observational study that followed 14 participants for a year after their flood doses. 75% of the participants stayed sober that whole year. Now, I don't need to see any other case studies, okay? There's not one traditional treatment center in the United States that could obtain those numbers. I've been working in the treatment industry for 12 years, okay? It doesn't exist. So there is something to this. Oh, that's the last page. You know, and to close, you know, what I'll say is this is not a silver bullet. This is not a cure for addiction, okay? People relapse after this. It happens. It doesn't cure free will. It doesn't cure these deeply ingrained patterns that we have. You do this and have this incredible experience, and then you go home, and like I was talking about before, those social aspects, it can be very easy to just kind of get, you know, fall back into the same routine and patterns, right? If you don't have the right guidance and the right integration. It's just so important that we make space for this fast. And yeah, this medicine gave me a second chance. It gave me a future that I don't think anyone thought I was going to have, including myself, for some time. And I think it's a beautiful medicine, not only in what it can do for people who have substance abuse issues, but what it can do for anybody. You know, this is not just for addicts. This is for humans. This is for people. This is a gift that was given to us. And I don't know if it's from Earth or from another planet. I don't know where it's from, but it was intentionally given to us. I can tell you that. And Papa Iboga, Father Iboga, the spirit of Iboga is a masculine energy, is most definitely there during your experience, guiding you through this completely disassociated, very in-depth, gruelingly realistic experience. And he's safe, and he loves you, and he can show you what you need to see in the moment. It's truly incredible. You know, so my gratitude to, you know, these tribes in Africa who brought us this medicine. And it just goes so deep. And, you know, if anyone has any questions about Ibogaine, I clearly love talking about Ibogaine. So hit me up, let's chat. You know, and I know that this is a medicine that I will be involved with for the rest of my life. You know, it's just, it's part of who I am at this point. And I'm really happy to be able to share this with you guys. So yeah, hope I didn't miss anything, but peace and love.